Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and fellow visionaries, welcome to the Global Speakers Talk Summit, where today we embark on a journey to unlock the secrets of making 2025 our most productive and successful year yet. I'm JB Herrera, founder of Insight Driven Business, and I'm honored to be your host today. My mission is simple yet powerful: to blend human wisdom with AI technology to help businesses create real, lasting value. See, we believe that AI stands for augmented innovation. It's a transformative approach that positions technology as a strategic partner, not a replacement. And when we collaborate with our clients, we consistently witness remarkable improvements in productivity. So, as you can imagine, today's topic is right in my power zone. Our focus revolves around 5 key areas, and our approach is really deeply rooted in values, vision, and an unwavering pursuit of excellence, ensuring that every step that you take is both purposeful and impactful. But today is not just about me. You'll have the opportunity to hear from 6 incredible speakers who share their experiences and insights on productivity, offering you actionable insights to make 2025 your most successful year yet. Now, as we gather here today, I'd like to begin with a simple story, an allegory, if you will, one that speaks to the essence of what it takes to turn aspirations into achievements. Picture, if you will, a grand ship embarking on a year-long voyage across uncharted waters. The ship represents your year ahead, 2025. Its hull is built with your dreams, its sails powered by your ambitions, and its rudder guided by your values. As it leaves the harbor of the present, the horizon ahead is filled with both promise and uncertainty. Now, a ship without a clear course, without a capable crew, and without the right provisions is at the mercy of the winds and waves. But those who chart their journey with purpose, who build resilience into their vessel, who remain adaptable to the shifting tides, these are the captains who arrive at their desired destination regardless of the storms they encounter along the way. So I ask you, how will you captain your ship in 2025? Will you set a bold course with clarity and intention? Will you equip yourself with the right strategies, tools, and partnerships to weather the inevitable challenges? And most importantly, will you embrace the journey, knowing that every setback is really just a wave? It's meant to be navigated, not feared. Now, I believe productivity isn't just about doing more. It's about doing what matters most with precision and purpose. Whether it's leveraging AI to streamline your processes like I do, designing strategies that align with core values, it doesn't matter. Our goal is really to help you work smarter, not harder. So today, through the insights and stories shared by our esteemed speakers, we're going to explore the charts and compass of success: goal setting, time mastery, mind shifts, actionable strategies that will propel you forward. Whether you're here to redefine your goals, enhance your leadership impact, or simply find balance in a demanding world, this summit is your lighthouse, guiding you to greater horizons. So let's set sail together with curiosity, courage, and commitment, making 2025 not just another year, but your year of transformation and triumph. So welcome aboard. Let's begin the journey. So our first speaker today is someone who understands that true productivity and success begin from within. I'd like you to meet Endre Hoffmann. He's a transformational leader who's dedicated to helping business owners and leaders break free from self-doubt, exhaustion, and low confidence. Through his unique approach, Endre empowers individuals to reconnect with their authentic leadership and self-worth, unlocking emotional freedom, amplifying their impact, and fostering a powerful new self-image. Now, what sets him apart is his commitment to real transformation, so much so that he offers a free experience and a guarantee of results. Whether you're looking to reignite your confidence or elevate your leadership potential, Endre provides the tools and guidance you need to thrive. So be sure to download his ebook or book a consultation to take your first step through your breakthrough. So please join me in welcoming Endre Hoffmann to the stage. Endre, welcome.
Thanks very much. I'm so happy to be here. And here we are. I've been a prime example of how not to be productive and successful. And thank you for this introduction, JB. I'm going to help you to plug the ship so the ship can make progress for you. And I was working hard, I achieved nothing. It was all to do with my self image and beliefs. And if that's your reality, well, remember, it's just a phase. You're still working on this. But I'll give you today three challenges and three concepts that you could go through to get you started on 2025 and set yourself up for a year that could change everything for you. I took massive action, as I said. I was a busy bee, I was productive, and I got nothing done. I was doing what was completely irrelevant. That took me 10 or 15 years until I faced my fears and I did the uncomfortable inner work, and somebody helped me through it. So, working hard might not be the final solution for you. But let me share a bit about my background so that you understand what was the problem if you have. And I have two children and a wife. We're currently living in the EU after moving from Australia for 12 years, where we lived before. And from an early age, I had a father and son relationship that was completely dysfunctional. Home was a criticism minefield. It was a difficult time. And as I said, my dad was quite angry, highly critical of me, and I never felt safe around him. And as it arose, I never felt confident. I felt limited, and I had this chasing always the next thing to prove myself. My whole life turned out to be proving myself. That was maybe the mechanism to deal with that childhood. And I was respected, I was celebrated because I achieved all of these things as a high achiever. Yet inside, I was struggling. So eventually, I ended up 34 years struggling to find my lost self worth and confidence. And it was all to do with my childhood. So if you have recurring challenges, really ask yourself now, is it success and productivity that you need, or you need to find your authenticity? Because it's a different thing. And if that's the case, then how long have you been struggling with something similar that I was going through? Because I hear from people the answer is decades. They've had it almost all their life. And in this work to change myself, I spent over $100,000 on all kinds of personal development tools, books, seminars, past life regression, meditation, affirmation, everything under the sun. Tony Robbins live events, DeMartini, Brian Tracy, T. Harv Eker, and it seemed like I'm beyond help. And I was after this true version of me to feel good about myself. I moved 4 countries. I traveled 70 countries in search of these answers for over 20 years. And all I wanted to just feel successful and fulfilled. And I was wasting my time all along because I was scratching the surface, which has never worked. My family started to doubt whether change was possible for me. I already had a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old, and I was always working. And my wife asked me one morning in Australia, she said, "Is it time for us to divorce?" Now, that was the light bulb moment. I realized now I could lose. My health was not going well, my wife and 2 children, and I said, well, I asked for a 1 day break or pause. I said, the answer that came to me, I said, I never give up on this. And I said to my wife, I'm okay to grow old and keep trying until I find something that works. And eventually she stayed with me and the kids. But the question is, what happened after? And imagine, as to 34 years searching, within 6 months after this crushing point of no options left, I found a mindset coach. And working with him in the next 6 to 12 months, my life has completely shifted. And the Doctor of Self Worth brand came out of this transformation. And I've been helping every day ever since, changing minds and changing lives for people, working in groups, working one-on-one, and I decided to help 1 million people, and you could be one of them. And as I said, looking back, my unconsciousness has been running my life and my results. And unfortunately, as it was, I had to break out of a job and or run a business, but I ran 3 businesses to the ground by that time. And it's because of carrying my thoughts were limiting ideas and beliefs. I have to work hard. I'm not good enough. I haven't got time. I don't deserve it. And these beliefs were killing my results. And the last one was I can't make money from doing what I love. That took me over a year to get through. So now I have life on my terms. We are homeschooling our children. My kids love me, which never happened in my family between fathers and sons. We changed our life. We have bought an organic farm. So we're trying to grow our own food in the next coming years. And last year we traveled for 7 or 8 months around Europe with a caravan, seeing the most beautiful places. So life's good, but it's not about me. You would ask yourself now, okay, well, what do I need to do? It's not always that simple, but I will do my best to help you with my 3 challenges and the other 3 concepts. And let's define a bit, because we have the theme of productivity and success. Now, productivity means accomplishing your goals in a timely manner, where you follow through on all the tasks that you have set ideally into your calendar and completely doing them to the T. But this is fairly easy if you set the right tasks. Success, on the other hand, this is number 1 out of the 3, is not so straightforward. Take a deep breath in now. Get a notepad or take some notes, because you want to know what success is to you. Let's define it for you. What would mean success for you in 2025? Is it getting your health back, more money, time for important things, earning 50% more, having new contracts in place or new partnerships? Really define it now. Take a little time and write them down now, because it's important for you to be successful. It can be a very different experience for all of us. The other thing is, I was so disconnected from myself that I had no idea what I wanted. Just wanted to feel safe. And I was running away from this 60-hour week to have some time with family and my kids. But the second thing that I wanted to share with you is a challenge. Where is your emotional dwelling place? Where are you going back to every day? It's the most typical emotion that you are indulging in. Is it negative? Is it anger? Are you feeling hurt? Is it sadness or frustrated? Because these emotions will be your advisors about the tasks and decisions that you make in your life and business. Now, seek help to release them if you need to, because you could become a hostage. I certainly was. And you might want to take a note of those emotions right now. The third one is about your usual thoughts. Again, you got the paper and a pen, I hope so. Are you running in circles in your head? Well, write down the 3 most typical thoughts that you keep repeating. And it could do with the past that you have not chosen, you haven't made the right decision. But notice again, are they positive? Are there negative voices in your head? We can terminate them. The renting space is over in your head. Let's give them a termination notice. And this is the tip from me. Look for someone who was dealing with the same or similar challenges that you have. This is a shortcut. that you have now, and this person who has turned them into the results that you're looking for. Let me simplify it for you. If that person has also been helping others to get through exactly those challenges and they have testimonials and results, all you need to do, maybe have a free experience, commit to their product and service, and then stay in it until it works for you, or get your money back if it didn't. And this is the reason. See, I spent over $100,000. I decided to guarantee results for my clients. I wanted to set new standards for this industry, because taking full responsibility for my work and for my clients' results, I believe this is the new standard I'm hoping. And this is why I give away 1 hour free sessions to everyone who is committed and show up. And I don't want you to keep buying programs and run in circles like I did for decades, because I was wasting my money and time. And I didn't know I was wasting it, because I think it's unfair to sell products or services that might or might not help you to get those results. Now, before I go into the third one, that's the last 3, which is the personal breakthrough stages, I want you to take a deep breath in and out. Now, I believe this may need to happen, these last 3, this may need to happen before you even get clarity about what success is for you and the productivity, unlocking your productivity, to really plan and do what serves you and serves others that you can maybe charge for and really make money out of. Now, these are the 3 stages, and this is where I have spent over 25 years. The first stage is unconsciousness, and this is where things are going difficult. This is where there is limiting ideas. There are negative emotions going on, where you are feeling, I'm not worth it. It's too hard. It's stressful. My needs are not important. These were all my patterns, by the way. My voice isn't heard. I don't know what I want. I won't be approved or accepted. I'm not liked. There's been plenty that I was dealing with. But emotional triggers are the telltale for you, because they will raise the signal for you. If it's, sometimes you might be angry or sad, then it will pop its ugly head up. The second stage is you without the grip of the past. Now, this is getting exciting. I call this best version or emotional freedom. And a mentor or a coach was, for me, essential to get here. Things starts to flow. You get more and more momentum. There is more mental resilience. You're more optimistic. You're trying things. You don't take things so personally. And you're taking on challenges. You have this wonderful growth mindset. And we're able to step away from structures. You maybe launched a side hustle. Your business start to pick up. And you're creating more and more wiggle room in your life. You're able to receive money, appreciation, and the old fears are not controlling your life anymore. And I say, probably mentors, coaches, events like this one, thank you, JB, is the place for you to be, because you will be inspired by possibilities and the right communities. But the third stage is, I believe, where probably 5% of the population will ever get to. And I call this mission, your calling, life purpose. And I say it's automatic. If you get to the second stage and you are being present and you've done this internal work, then what's coming is you're getting more and more focused on what you want. And blind spots will be still coming along. I'm not saying it's comfortable, but mentors, coaches, communities, and masterminds will be able to point out when you start to do the usual circles, what the mind does to us. So here you have intuition. It's switching on. You're becoming more and more fearless, committed to your authentic life. You're not settling for less. You're able to set your prices and attracting people and opportunities, and at times resources, money, be able to get funds, team, and coincidences start to happen for you. And this is where I believe I want to just take this away. It's not about competition. Professionals create. I don't want you to compete with someone on the market already. You want to stand out. So, looking back, I hope this really helps you. Just have these last few thoughts to share. So, I've broken through to this authentic place at the age of 42. I call the mission state. Unleashed, I'm playing around, I'm happy, I can get to come to stages I never wanted to talk in front of people ever before. So I'm joyful and satisfied. I have time for my children and family. But I believe in this stage, abundance will be a byproduct, just a natural way it will happen for you. And I believe there is no difference between my life and business. My wife is not so happy about it some days when I'm working because I feel like I want to work. But who was I inspired through the years? And my intuition was not enough. Reach out if you want to have a chat to tell you more about the journey. But I needed guidance. I needed mentoring groups. I needed networks to get here. And Six Star Leaders was one of them among the many. You can look them up and follow them on LinkedIn. And if this message resonates with you, at drofselfers.com, that's my webpage. You can find my free resources and you can obviously download them. You will see them, I guess, under the video. But I believe this: results or lack of results in your life, take this away, are just reflections of your mindset or strategies. And you will repeat those problems and struggles that you might be having now until you wake up. And sadly, it usually takes decades of struggle for most people to become coachable by their life's results till that wake up moment, or by mentors who are creating shortcuts. I will be here. The door is open for you. Thank you very much for your time.
Put in there. The 3 stages are absolutely amazing. Very, very clear, very, very specific. And also, what I would encourage the listeners to do is to really take advantage of Andre's offer. Go to his website, take a look at the resources that he has. He's been through an awful lot of places on his journey of 34 years to get where he's at today, that he's going to give his wisdom to you if you take advantage of that. So please take a look, go to his website, download those resources, and begin your journey for 2025. Okay, thank you, Andre. Our next speaker is a true advocate for transformative leadership and workplace well-being. Dr. Joe Oravecz is the founder of True Guide Leadership Collective, a renowned keynote speaker, and an executive coach with a mission to reshape the way we lead and work. With over 25 years of C-suite experience, Dr. Joe brings a wealth of knowledge and a deep understanding of challenges leaders face in today's fast-paced world. But what makes Dr. Joe's work truly inspiring is his personal journey, one that includes overcoming mental health challenges and turning them into a driving force for change. His approach empowers leaders to prioritize mental well-being, foster compassionate workplace cultures, and lead with authenticity and resilience. So, be prepared to be inspired and equipped with actionable insights to create a healthier, more productive teams and personal life. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Joe to the stage. Dr. Joe, welcome.
Thank you so much, JB, and thank you, Andre. There's going to be a wonderful theme today to be able to really talk about how we help each other through this incredible journey that we call life. And for me, I have to start off with the story of why is it that every office, whatever environment you are, kind of has that person, that guy, the one that sends those 3 a.m. emails and then brags about it, how they only need 4 hours of sleep. If you can't think of anyone right now, I don't know. Might that be you? But here's the real question. When did burnout become a badge of honor? And more importantly, what is it costing us? Not just in productivity, but in people. There was a time when I thought being a great leader meant being everywhere, for everyone, all the time. I thrived in a university environment as a university administrator, student events, staff meetings, impromptu drop-ins. One of my most favorite memories was coaching student speakers for commencement, helping them take their raw nerves and turn them into magic on stage. I loved seeing them shine, knowing I had played a small part in their success. I thought I was thriving because all of the students, all the people around me were thriving. But behind the scenes, I was running on empty. My cracks were starting to show. And I was too busy being that strong leader to admit it. And then it happened a few years ago. I was awake, middle of the night, 3 a.m., heart pounding, mind spiraling, and the pressure feeling unbearable. I was the leader. I was the person that they looked up to, the problem solver. However, I had a peer question my value. But in that moment, 3 a.m., I felt like I couldn't solve my own problems. The culture I was part of celebrated workaholism, grinding through exhaustion and hiding vulnerability. And I was drowning. And I didn't know how to say, I need help. I was the one that was always asking others, how can I help you? What can I do to help you? That night, out of nowhere, I hit rock bottom. The isolation, shame, and stigma of being a leader who couldn't keep it together brought me to a breaking point. Something had to change, and it had to start with me. That morning, or I guess several hours later, I made the hardest call of my life. Through tears, I called and told a trusted colleague, I need help. That call led me to a 30-day executive mental health program where I finally gave myself permission to put my well-being first. You know that air flight or airline attendant, you always hear them. Hopefully you're listening to them during preparation for takeoff. In case of an emergency, what do? You put your air mask on first and then help others. So during this mental health program, it was there for 30 days that I discovered something radical. That leadership doesn't have to mean sacrifice. I reframed my mindset from work-life balance, that we always say work-life balance, and leading with life-work harmony. Balance suggests an impossible ideal, equal time for everything. Harmony, on the other hand, is about alignment. It's about leading in a way that allows all areas of your life to work together without sacrificing your health or your humanity. During those 30 days, I confronted the cultural lie that leadership requires invincibility. True leadership, I learned, begins with vulnerability. It means showing up as your full human self, so your team, including your family, feels safe to do the same. When I left the program, I knew I couldn't go back to the way things were. I knew I could do more. And I retired from that role, and I took a leap of faith, aligning my career with my values. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. So, how do we transform workplace culture with mental health focused leadership? It starts with walking the talk. Let's talk about three things. Number one, lead with transparency. Share your story. According to the 2024 NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illness, Mental Health in the Workplace report, 80% of employees with mental health challenges say stigma prevents them from seeking help. Leaders have the power to break this stigma by being open. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strength in its most authentic form. Number two, model self-care. Burnout is not a badge of honor. Workaholism is not a badge of honor. Normalize mental health days. Encourage employees to take time off and lead by example. Why? Because Generation Z and millennials, who now make up the majority of the workforce, expect this from their leaders. If you're not modeling well-being, they'll notice and they'll leave. Number three, foster psychological safety. A culture of fear leads to silence, a chilling effect. But a culture of safety, that leads to innovation, productivity, and loyalty. As leaders, we need to create environments where people feel safe to speak up, not just about work challenges, but about their mental health too. These steps aren't just abstract ideas, they're backed by data. Workplaces that prioritize mental health see increased productivity, higher employee satisfaction, and reduced turnover. And if you're not in the C-suite or the executive suite, you can still lead the way. Share resources like the NAMI report I referenced. Advocate for change by asking, what steps can we take to support mental health care? Be the voice that sparks transformation. Faith has also been a cornerstone of my journey, reminding me that grace doesn't demand perfection. It requires simply presence. It gave me the courage to believe my struggles had meaning and that I wasn't walking this path alone. Faith also taught me that leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about the humility to admit when you don't. Vulnerability has become my superpower. Sharing my struggles has fostered trust and created spaces where others feel safe to do the same. As Charlie McKeesey writes in his book, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, asking for help isn't giving up, it's refusing to give up. These words remind me that seeking support, whether from faith, community, or professionals, is not an admission of failure. It's an act of courage that says, I'm not done fighting. So imagine this, a workplace where vulnerability is celebrated, not penalized, where employees feel safe to say, I'm struggling, and leaders respond with support. Picture the ripple effect of prioritizing mental health, not just at work, but in families, communities, and future generations. This isn't about just your workplace, it's about your life. The ripple effects of prioritizing mental health go far beyond the office. If you're a leader, ask yourself, what kind of culture am I creating? If you're not in leadership yet, ask yourself, how can I influence the culture around me? What's the one conversation you can start today that could change everything? Mental health isn't just a personal journey. It's a leadership responsibility and a business imperative. Today's workforce, especially younger generations, expects their employers to prioritize mental health and foster supportive environments. Yet many leaders still adhere to a suck it up and do the work mentality. That mindset has to change. My challenge to you, start a conversation, whether it's with your team, your boss, or yourself. Begin by asking, how can we prioritize well-being here? Commit to one action this week. Maybe it's normalizing mental health days or sharing a story. And if you're ready to take it further, reach out to me. Together, we can craft a strategy to build a workplace where people just don't survive. They thrive. Life-work harmony isn't about dividing your time equally. It's about aligning your priorities with your values. So every part of your life works together. When leaders embrace authenticity, transparency, and mental health as core values, they create a culture where people feel empowered, supported, and safe. That's the foundation of thriving workplaces and thriving lives. Asking for help isn't giving up, it's refusing to give up. Let's stop pretending we have to do it all and start leading with the courage to be human. Together, we can transform workplaces one conversation at a time. Thank you.
In fact, Dr. Joe, that was amazing. And I wanted to make sure, first of all, that everybody, if you didn't take notes, you should. You should have. There are notes that the speakers and some of the other members of the audience have put into the chat. I strongly encourage you to take a look at the links at the bottom of the page. These are the links to get to Dr. Joe. He offers a master class. He's got resources that can help you, because I know from personal experience what he's talking about has applied in my life. It wasn't until I lost almost everything that I slapped myself on the forehead and came to the place where I said, you know what? My mental health is the most important thing, because I can't take care of other people unless I take care of myself. So if you've been through this, if you've seen this in the past, take the steps that Dr. Joe has talked about today. Reach out, click the links, go to his website and grab his resources, because they are the beginning of transforming our world. Thank you, Dr. Joe. I really appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I really look forward, again, the masterclass at no cost to anyone, getting a lot of people already, a lot of interest. And that's the first step. That's kind of just do it. And then we'll be able to guide you from there. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Joe. I appreciate it. Okay, next up, we have someone truly special, Coach Anna Lang, a transformation expert who helps individuals turn life's challenges into meaningful, lasting change. With over 25 years of entrepreneurial experience and a deep passion for personal growth, Anna has developed 9 powerful personal development programs that have empowered countless individuals to reconnect with themselves and build lives they truly love. Her approach is unique, grounded in neuroscience, informed strategies, and enriched by her own transformative journey. She understands firsthand what it takes to navigate and change and emerge stronger, more aligned, and more fulfilled. And exciting news, her upcoming book, You Are the Secret Sauce, dives even deeper into her proven strategies for personal empowerment. I'm thrilled to have an interactive session with Anna today, where we're going to explore practical tools and insights that can help you create meaningful shifts in your life. So get ready to engage, reflect, and walk away with actionable steps that can shape your 2025. Please join me in welcoming Coach Anna Lang to the stage. Welcome, Coach Anna. Woo!
Thank you for having me. That was such a beautiful introduction. I'm absolutely honored to be here. And I just want to give a shout out to the other speakers that were just on. You guys, that was beautiful. I couldn't agree more with what you were talking about, the impact of mental health, the necessity of knowing what it is we need and prioritizing that. Chef's kiss to you. Oh, was this an interactive session, JB?
Did you want to? Do you want to do that?
I can do either or.
Okay, it's up to you. We can run it your way.
Well, we can. Let me start off. I'm going to share with the audience a little bit about my story. How about that?
Let's do that.
Perfect. So, as JB said, my name is Coach Anna, and I got into this work falling into it backwards, as sometimes happens in life. And where it started was, like many of these other speakers, I feel we have so much alignment on this panel right now. I started off feeling like who I was a mistake from a very, very young age. In fact, I don't even remember a time when I was young where I didn't feel like who I was wrong, that I was too loud, too much, too this, too that there was no space, that where I showed up, I was doing it right. And so I did what kids do, because kids are fantastic and resilient. And when a kid perceives that they're doing something that impacts how the world around them is able to support and nurture them, they shift, they change, they morph, they bend over backwards, they contort, they do all kinds of stuff to create whatever it is they got to create, so that the world around them can fill their needs, so that they'll get love, they'll get food, they'll get whatever it is they'll get. And so that's what I did. I started morphing, I started contorting, I started bending over backwards. And of course, it didn't work, right? That doesn't work, or it works for a limited amount of time. But when you carry that into your adult life, it doesn't lead to fulfillment. It doesn't lead to the results that you might want it to. And so, as the story goes, my life spiraled out of control. I ran away from home. I tried to commit suicide. That didn't work, clearly. So then I ended up moving on with still those same tendencies of trying to morph and adjust. And I started a business. I got married thinking, oh, this is now proof. This is the evidence I need to prove that maybe I'm worth something. Anyone who's ever been married knows that marriage is not a fixer. It's a magnifier. It magnifies the issues. It doesn't make them go away. And thus it did not. I went through 7 businesses. Some of them are still running today, but all I did was I succeeded in building businesses that felt like they were better suited for someone else, because I was never being myself when I was building them. And I ended up in this marriage to somebody who wanted somebody else because that's who they married. Eventually, things took a rather serious turn. I ended up walking out of that situation with only the clothes on my back. I ended up homeless, living out of an old warehouse illegally, and no closer to figuring out who I was than when I started. That Christmas, now there's a little bit of a situation there. I had 2 kids, so I would get up at 4 a.m. I would make my way back to the old house that I wasn't living in anymore. I would be there when they woke up, get them ready for school, send them off on the bus, find my way back downtown to the illegal warehouse I was living in. I was running a business at the time. I was holding on by a very thin thread. I would do what I had to do for that business. I was hiding all of this from everybody, my clients, my family, my friends, because I thought, as a business owner, anyone here who's an entrepreneur knows your personal life impacts your business life. And I knew I felt the story I was telling myself is that anyone knew this, they were going to hike the heck away. And then I'd lose a little income I had, and I didn't even have enough money to eat at the time. So that was a big deal to me. So I do my work, go back, meet the kids off the bus, get them ready for bed, do all the stuff. When they were asleep, go back downtown. I did this cycle for 8 months. At Christmas, I get this call from my brother who's like, yeah, I'm so excited to be spending Christmas with you. And I was like, what the heck? Because I was illegally living homeless. I had not invited him. But what had happened was my ex had invited my whole family, because nobody knew that I had left him. Nobody knew I was homeless. Nobody knew that I was in this deep spiraled depression. He had invited everybody over to spend the holidays with us. I think he thought maybe that would get us back together. And that was my wake-up call. I realized that if I wanted to have a life that I wanted, as I was sitting there surrounded by all these people who had no idea what I was going through. They didn't know I had tried to commit suicide. They didn't know I was homeless. They didn't know I was none of it. As I was sitting there surrounded by these people, I realized, one, if I wanted my life to be what I wanted my life to be, I had to be brave enough to start showing up in it as myself. No one was coming to save me. And that I actually could do something about it. Like, I realized, wait a minute, this is on me. And so that's what I did. I spent the next 13 years reconstructing my life, reconstructing how I approach business, learning neuroscience, psychology, cognitive behavioral therapy, neurolinguistic photography, neurolinguistic programming, all of that stuff. And I learned a few things along the way. And as I was learning those things, other people started being attracted to me. And I started getting people saying, hey, can you show me what you're doing? There's something's going on. I don't know what it is, but I want that for me. And that's how I ended up in where I am now, is more and more people started asking for the things that I was learning. And that's what we're going to share today. Is I'm going to share with you guys 3 steps specific to productivity, because that's what we're talking about here. But 3 simple steps that you can take to get you where you want to go without burning out, sacrificing your sanity, or living a life you hate in the process. Because I tell you this, it doesn't last long before you become so disconnected from yourself. You walk slowly away from yourself for long enough, you eventually turn around, you can't find the way back again. So I'm going to share some stuff with you that's going to support you to avoid that situation. Or if you're in it, maybe walk yourself back a little bit. All right. I'm going to share my screen because I got tools going here. Share. Give me a second. The first thing we want to talk about is when you guys are planning, there's 3 things that we do when we plan that cause us to absolutely wreck our plans. It basically ensures that our plans, we won't follow through on them. They won't come to fruition. We'll end up overwhelmed, disconnected, all that stuff. And the first one that I want to talk about is that we operate outside of what I call your circle of control. Now, some people will have heard of this concept before. I do it a little bit differently. Your circle of control is, if we look at it on the surface, it's like the difference between the weather and your mood. The weather, you have 0 control over, but you absolutely can impact how you choose to interpret it, how you choose to feel about it, and what meaning you choose to give it. And if you allow that thing to stop you. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about circle of control. We're talking about a way of understanding what you have control over, what you can influence, and what's outside of your hands. And it's a big deal, especially when you're planning, because it means you can focus on the things that you can create impact in, instead of spinning your tires on stuff that you just cannot control. And I'm going to give you an example here. See this little guy? This is you. The more you can focus in your circle of control, which is the things that you can immediately and absolutely control without anybody else telling you what you need or how you need. And those are things like your standards, your behaviors, the meaning you choose to give things, how you treat people, how you treat yourself, and the actions you choose to take. You don't need anyone's permission to do those things. So the more you can bring your plans into this sphere, the things you meaningfully can take action on, you can choose to do or interact with in specific ways that you can control, the more power you give yourself, and the more competence you give yourself, and the more confidence you give yourself. Oops. On the next circle, and this is a great circle as well, is your circle of influence. And this is the touch. These are things that you can touch and interact with. So you can influence them because you can directly create impact in these areas. These are the opinions people you know have. You can't touch people you don't know. It's not in your circle of influence. Don't worry about it. Your relationships, you have touch points there. You can impact those. Your health, you can impact that. You cannot control your health because it has outside influences like the environment you're in, the quality of the water you drink, your access to healthy food. So you can impact your health, but you can't control it. right? This relieves anxiety, this relieves stress, knowing these things, focusing on these things. The behavior of people you know, the future, you impact that every second of every day, but you certainly cannot control it, your personal environment. On your biggest circle, this is your circle of concern, and this is where plans fail, because people sit here and they sit in overwhelm. And you are in your circle of concern, you are in inaction and overwhelm, because you cannot impact your circle of concern without an intermediary, without something, you first touching something in your circle of influence, which makes it big, which makes it hard on the old brain to manage. This is stuff like global environment. I cannot touch a rainforest on the other side of the world, but I can influence companies, businesses, people that are within my circle of influence. I can influence those people who can then impact those things. The media falls in here, global economics. The past is interesting because unless someone has a time machine, there is no intermediary you can interact with to create impact in that area. So worrying about it doesn't help you, doesn't help your plans. Our first speaker talked about that. Worrying about your past will impact nothing except your ability to get things done in the present. Natural disasters fall in here, actions of strangers, the weather, and that's your circle of, or those are your circles of control. Now, knowing and understanding how to move between the outside circle and the middle of the circle when you're planning is the difference often between plans that you're excited to get up for and ones that overwhelm and overload you. What you want to do, often plans are out in the circle of concern. Those are your big goals, your big dreams. What you want to do is you want to take it back. You want to say, okay, what do I influence that can touch the things that I care about? And then what are the specific actions, thoughts, beliefs that are within my control that I can interact with personally on my level with and apply to that circle of influence? So who do I talk to? How do I behave? Those kinds of things. You want to dial it back into who you are, basically. Now, when you do this, you are going to notice a bunch of things. You're going to see an increased sense of competence and confidence. You're going to reduce your overwhelm. You're going to focus your energy, which is going to give you more brain space for other things. It's going to increase your performance, going to reduce your stress and anxiety, increase your motivation, increase your resilience. You see the pattern here? Proactive mindset. And this will impact your sense of success and overall happiness. All right. The second thing that we want to talk about today is, and this is a huge one, not planning for personal well-being. Every single speaker here has talked about this. I'm sure some more are going to talk about this. When we look at why plans fail, failing to plan for your personal needs is a massive, huge culprit. And your ability to prioritize and maintain your needs will 100% impact your ability to function in every area of your life. This is not a what if, this is fact. And I want to talk about this because a couple of speakers have talked about this. We are volcanoes waiting to erupt. And when our personal needs go unmet or we ignore them, irritation, frustration, hurt, all of those things, they go up. And then we eventually erupt because of the pressure. And this is what it looks like. We start sacrificing our time, our energy, our personal well-being because we want to avoid conflict, because we want to get stuff done. Okay, so what happens? Well, I stop doing some things that I love. Oh, okay. And then I add on to that, like boulders. I'm adding pressure. I say yes when I'd rather say no. I want to be the good guy. I want to avoid conflict. And I end up giving up on my own needs, my own wants, my own desires. And what happens is a bottleneck. I get physically depleted, mentally depleted, emotionally depleted, and eventually I blow up. I start saying and doing things I'm going to regret. I physically break down. I start making mistakes. My reputation gets damaged. I burst into tears in the office. I break promises to people I love, and eventually I burn out. Right? This is not a pretty scenario. Nobody wants this. So what do we do? That's the next question. What do we do? Well, we've got to start becoming aware. People often think they're aware of their well-being needs, but they're really not, because we haven't thought about it. We haven't really thought about it in the depth that will create any kind of impact. We know we need sleep. We're not doing it. We know we need exercise. We're not doing it. But are you really aware of all of the areas of personal well-being and what it is that you specifically, personally, your personal alchemy for each of those areas? What is it you need? when we understand or even start to think about it, awareness is ground zero, right? As soon as you start to understand what you need, it allows you to start seeing where conflicts are. It allows you to adapt, to minimize exposure to certain things, to mitigate the consequences of things that can't be avoided totally, or to get rid of things. But if you don't create awareness, you will not be able to do those things. You won't be able to look at your plans and say, oh, this thing is going to impact my ability to, like spend time with my family. By the way, that falls under needs. If it's an important value to you, it falls under needs. Impact my ability to be with my family. How do I adapt, minimize, or mitigate, or eliminate this thing, right? How do I modify? And this, if you prioritize and maintain your needs, it's going to create a waterfall effect. Now, I have 4 areas I want to share with you today. I actually have a wheel with 8. We don't have time for it because this presentation is, I'm probably going to edge onto what I'm allowed time-wise, but I got to give you these 4 areas because I didn't bother putting, by the way, physical needs, like physical health, because if you don't know that you need to take care of your physical health by now, we need to look at other interventions. I want to show people these 4 areas because at least one of them, I will make a reasonable bet that you guys haven't thought about it. Now, the first one I put in here anyways, many of us have thought of this. What do you need to be emotionally healthy? What do you need to ensure that your stress levels don't skyrocket? What do you need? Be aware of that. Be aware of what impacts your emotional well-being. And then when those things enter your life or enter your plans, you have the ability to navigate it because you're now aware. The second one is, and this one is huge, is called mindful consumption. And this is one most of my students have never thought about. And that is, what is coming into my life? What am I putting into my body? What media am I consuming? What type of behaviors will I allow into my life, into my body, into my sphere, so that when I see someone who's exhibiting toxic behaviors that trigger me because of experiences or traumas, I have thought about it. I have a strategy in my head to do something about that. Consider mindful consumption. What is coming into you? This can include food. This can include anything that you put into your body, your mind, okay? Think about it. What is healthy for you? I can't do horror films. Can't do it. If someone puts on a horror flick, I got to leave the room. I will have nightmares for weeks, right? Mindful consumption. Be aware so that you can take action to do one of those things, mitigate, adapt, minimize. Rest and recharge. Be aware of this. I need 7 hours of sleep every single night, and I get it. If I stay up late, I compress my morning routine. This is a non-negotiable, absolutely non-negotiable. And then finally, your environment. What do you need in your environment? If you need a quiet environment and you're in an open concept office, that's not always possible. Great. What do? Do you get noise canceling headphones? Do you request your desk to be moved? Do you take frequent breaks? Do you have a different area that you can do work in when it's work that requires deep thinking? If you're at home and the environment is chaotic, what can you do? How can you take steps right in your circle of control? I'm tying this back to circle of control. What's within your control to create the results you need so your plans can happen? All right. I'm going to address this one really quick. Anyone who doesn't have time for personal well-being, I see you. And I want you to really consider this. Regular self-care activities enhance productivity up to 30%. With that extra 30%, I promise you have time for personal well-being. This is a cyclical argument, and one I will stand very firm on. A few other fun stacks. Dr. Russell Thackeray wrote about productivity and people and self-care, and he said people have better cognitive ability, focus, and concentration when they take care of themselves. And finally, Harvard, and this is just one on your exercise, but exercise helps memory and thinking. It doesn't just make you feel good. It doesn't just help your body operate better. It actually impacts your cognitive abilities. So something to consider. And finally, I'm going to talk about the last thing. Remember these 3 things that you can do to make your plans, or make sure that your plans are not draining you, burning you out, and taking you down as you're trying to get to them. And this is ensure that you're including the freaking joy factor. Okay, the National Library of Medicine found those who keep their goals and stick to their plans, they make sure they're enjoying the journey. Okay, this isn't woohoo. This is fact, okay, guys? There's been a lot of studies on this. People who enjoy the journey make it to the end. Those who don't tend to fall off. Joy isn't a nice to have, it's a necessary thing. Here's another study, and I talked to JB about this the other day. Oxford did a study. You are 13% more productive at whatever you're doing when you're happy. You're also more resilient in the face of stress. You're able to bounce back. You got all these resources for you. The data speaks. You combine this with self-care and man, you're next level. So how do we incorporate it into our plans? Well, there's a few ways we incorporate it into our action. I'm going to go back quickly. There's a few ways we incorporate this into our plans, and I call it my authentic joy algorithm. And that's the unique combination. There's 6 categories you can look at that when you understand what brings you joy in each of those areas, what elevates and excites and delights and whatever else in these 6 areas, and you combine them, you basically have a roadmap that you can hold up against any experience, person, place, and you'll know if that thing is going to create the outcome, the emotional outcome that you expect it to. And I don't have time to go through all 6 of them, but I do want to talk about the most important one, and that is values. For the context of this, you can believe whatever you want about values, that's fine. But for the context of my training, values are what your life demonstrates is important to you. It's what you think about, what you act on, what you spend time on, what you spend money on, what you learn about, the things that you are driven to converse about and talk about. You bring it up all the time. People are like, stop talking about that thing. It's what you fill your space with. And it's what you will go through discomfort and adversity to maintain, have, or attain. Those things, if you can identify your values and you look at your plans, and your plans don't reflect the stuff that you do, that your life demonstrates, you take action on, you spend money on, you spend time on, you move towards, again, I will make an educated guess, those plans aren't happening. And they won't happen. Because your values are what's driving your decisions. This is one of the key leading factors behind self-sabotage, is people are attempting to either live in someone else's values, or they're just not, they have no clue. They're I call it subordinated values, where they're in have tos, ought tos, got tos, and shoulds. Those words typically mean that you are not operating out of your own value system in this context. You're not operating out of your own value system. You're operating out of what somebody else has suggested because you really don't know what yours are. There's a link at the bottom of this page, and I can pop it in the chat after I'm done. Go here. This is where you can take a values determination and you can get started. You can look at these things and you can see there's a couple of things you can do. If you look at your plans and they don't have your values in them, we can do something called linking to connect you, how this thing supports you to create the things you care about. But it's absolutely a necessity that you have it, or you're going to derail yourself. And with that, if you want to take steps that lead you where you want to go, you don't want to burn out, you don't want to go insane, and you don't want to hate the journey, tie your goals and visions into your scope of control so that you feel purposeful and meaningful, and you lower your anxiety and you don't suffer overwhelm, and stop. Make your personal needs non-negotiable, get aware, learn what they are, and then start to take actions in your scope of control to support them. And don't forget to do things that align with your values and your joy factor. If you do these three things, you are going to notice an incredible change in your motivation. You're going to notice a huge shift in your stress levels, your anxiety. If you suffer anxiety, it is going to make a massive difference in your life. And with that, I will turn it back to JB. Oh!
So, first of all, Anna, this is way awesome. Okay. I'm totally blown away. And let me just say, I'm putting the ticker down here at the bottom. This is something that everybody needs to really pay attention to. What Anna's talked about, first of all, her journey is amazing, right? I mean, I didn't know any of the stuff about Anna before today, right? You would not know that she went through all of that because of the energy that she brings to what she does. So people, pay attention. When she talks about the joy factor, she lives it. Can you feel the energy that she's got? Huh? Can you feel it? Because I can. So what you all need to do is step up, go to the page, build a better year of self-study course. Okay?
Yeah.
Do it. Now.
Oh, and by the way, that self-study course is just for people here, and it is only for 24 hours. And what it is I have all the things I just talked about are in this course and the expansions of them. And you get this beautiful printed workbook, and you get the 6 areas for the authentic joy algorithm. And we look at who you are as a human. And it's really turning traditional planning on its head, because traditional planning starts with the questions, what do you want? And Build a Better Year is about who are you and how do you want to show up in the world? And if you build your life on those tenets, I will say it becomes a very different game, and it's much more inspiring and motivating and exciting to live it.
Yeah, you know, when you're focusing on things that are outside, external, you know, looking at your 3 circles, you can never be fulfilled. You never be fulfilled because they're not within your circle of control. There's always something else that needs to happen in order for you to reach the next thing, which is the next thing and the next thing. And pretty soon joy goes away and all of a sudden you're imploding.
Well, and the worst part of it is that what happens when you're in your circle of concern is that you go into self beat up and shame and guilt because you feel you're supposed to be somewhere that is not actually real, that isn't realistic for you to expect. I did this talk live for a group of entrepreneurs in our city in September, and we focused on burnout was the topic, and we did the circle of control. And I spoke to an incubator group about 4 months after that. We did a live session on mental health, and one of the gentlemen from that first session was there, and he stood up in front of everyone and he said, I implemented this circle of control in my life. And he said, I went from crying almost every day and being so overwhelmed I couldn't get out of bed to feeling excited about what was possible for me to create.
Boom, right? Drop the mic with that one. Yeah, I mean, especially for startups in the technology space, but professional services organizations go through the same, you know, the founders and CEOs of those companies go through something similar as well. But I remember my first technology company, it was a badge of honor to open up my cot underneath my desk and spend 24 hours, 36 hours, 48 hours just working. and that's nuts. But that was the badge of honor. That's how far we have grown in our emotional intelligence to understand specifically the lessons that you've talked about today.
You know, if anyone out there is a boss, employer, manager, and you want to do a really fun exercise for your corporation to help them understand the value of mental health, take the salaries of the people in your team, and then take that 30%, and then take that off of each of the work days and do a monthly tally of the cost and say, this is the potential productivity cost of not giving our people this one day. Just try it. I call it voodoo logic, but math it out, because often there's a bottom line motivator to that behavior. And if we can challenge that behavior with the same logic that created it, that's when we start to see some wins and changes, especially in organizations, because they're bottom, like no money, no salaries, right? But let's show them the potential, and then take it down. Say, 30, that might be a max. Let's look at 15% productivity hit. Let's look at what that looks like to our bottom line. Right?
Yep.
Just do the math. Make it painful.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Here's the other part, Hannah. If you took that, and I said, I would guess, this is based on your experience, right? So this is a question for you. Do you have experience with CEOs who don't even take their own time into consideration?
I'm surrounded by them.
Right. So it's not just the 30% productivity for the individuals. They're not even looking at their 100% of their activities. Yep. So when you start adding all of those components up, you start to realize, wow, what did this mean to the bottom line of your company?
Yeah.
And their personal lives.
Yeah. And it's a lesson we get to learn over and over and over again. My husband is a CEO, and I was showing him the presentation. I said, I don't know how to condense this. This is just so much information. How do I make this 15 minutes? Blah. And he looked at it and he's like, oh, 30%. Oh, more sleep. And I'm like, dude.
Right.
Yeah. The lessons just keep being learned over and over.
Yep. And that's part of the journey, right? Is the fact that we're going to continuously, like in the allegory of the ship, we're going to have these waves and we're going to have to figure out how we're going to go through them. And the way we're going to get through them are through some of the tips that you're giving us today. Yeah. So, Anna, I want to thank you so much for being here. This has been a wonderful experience. And again, everybody, go down there. You got 24 hours to click on this guy. So please take advantage of this. I'm going to be in there. I'll be downloading the sucker and making it happen. So again, thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate your warmth, your energy, and the love of life that you have to give of yourself. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. So now what I'd love to do is introduce our next speaker. He's a leader who understands the unique challenges that Christian entrepreneurs face as they pursue their God-given callings. Jim Burgoon is a leadership coach, a certified DISC consultant, and the host of an inspiring podcast called Grace in the Grind, a platform dedicated to helping entrepreneurs navigate the complexities of leadership with faith and resilience. With over 20 years of faith-based leadership experience, Jim brings a wealth of wisdom and practical strategies to empower entrepreneurs to rise above obstacles and thrive, both in business and in their lives. His approach blends timeless biblical principles with modern leadership tools, offering a holistic perspective on success that aligns with purpose and values. So today, Jim's going to be sharing his insights on how to lead with confidence, stay grounded in faith, and build businesses that reflect integrity, purpose, and grace, even in the midst of all the challenges that we face today. So please join me in welcoming Jim Burgoon to the stage. Jim, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm grateful to be here. And thank you for all the other speakers because you guys have been rock stars today. But for the next few minutes while I have you, I want to first and foremost welcome you and do a quick moment. Let me take a break for a second and do a quick moment. Make sure you're hitting in the chat some of the takeaways you've gotten, some of the people that you've really connected with, and then go after and grab their stuff because your life is going to be changed because here we are in 2025. And if you're here, you are just a different breed. Why is that? Because by the 80% quit their New Year's resolutions, their goals by the second Friday of the year. We're at the end of January. You're here. You're watching this. Here we are. You are a fighter. You are not somebody who is going to quit. Matter of fact, so many people quit their resolutions by the second Friday that they actually consider it, or they call it officially, Quitter's Day. And you know, just as much as I know, that quitters never win and winners never quit, right? So you're a fighter. These are two things I know about you as we get started. I know that you are a fighter, that you want to win. And in all of that is that here's where it comes in. You're going to do whatever it takes to accomplish those two things. So welcome. Grateful that you're here with us. So let's dive in today because I'm not going to give you like a lot of strategy or tips today because you've got a lot of strategies and tips. But I also know that you're somebody who, especially in the entrepreneurial space, you're somebody who collects a lot of strategy and a lot of tips. But one of the challenges we face is that we continually have goals that mimic last year's goals and the year before that. You ever had that? Like you put up a vision board and the vision board looks exactly the same as every other vision board you ever did. It's because we're not completing goals. We're not, our productivity is low. We have great wishes, but we have no results. And I think this is where we get into things. So I'm not going to give you into too many tips or strategies, but what I am going to do is give you a new way of looking at something. And I'm going to challenge you to evaluate this, because if you evaluate what I'm about to give you, your productivity will go up through the roof. Your goals will be met and you will find yourself walking into 2026. I know it's weird talking about 2026 when we're in 2025, but you're going to find yourself walking into 2026, looking back, being like, look how far I've come. Look how far that I've made, right? Because I don't want you to be somebody who is going to be at the end of the year and like, man, where did the year go? I wish I would have. I wish I could have. So let's start and give you the three things. It's just three thoughts that you're going to make sure that you're going to evaluate aggressively with. This is going to be your focus, because if you get this right, everything else is just cake, icing on the cake. So here's the deal. If you don't hear anything else I say today, the one thing I want you to take away with, the one thing that I want you to grab hold of, is that if you have the right place, the right environment, the right people, and the right information, you will be unstoppable. Now, you hear all the gurus out there and all the experts saying, if you have this strategy and this framework, you're going to be unstoppable. No. Like, they may make you an expert, they may make you profitable, they may make you a lot of things. But if you want to become unstoppable, somebody who is constantly reaching their goals, you've got to aggressively evaluate the environments you're in, the people that you've placed in that environment with you, and the information that's coming in and out. So let's spend the next few minutes unpacking that, because this is the 3-step or 3 thoughts that you're going to have to really focus on if you want to complete your goals at a high level. Because environment dictates everything, really. The people you're around you in that environment will determine what you get out of life, right? And we want you to be winners. We want you to be people who are going to have results, not just wishes and goals, right? We want those goals complete. So the first thing is we're going to really unpack is the environment, the place you're in. And so one of the interesting things about that is that if you're having a problem and you're finding yourself constantly cycling, check the environment, because your environment will determine your outcome. For instance, my personality type, I am a very outgoing person. I need to be on stages. I love talking to people. If there's people, Jim is there, right? You're not going to find me often behind a screen. But for years, and this is where I became guilty of this, I was trying to build funnels and I was trying to build websites. Matter of fact, I had Bluehost for 3 years. I was managed to put my website up there. Can I build a website? Sure. But I put my website up there, and for 3 years, that's all that sat there was just my URL attached to WordPress. That's it. Why? Because I am not thriving in the details. I'm thriving in the people, but I tried to be in the details. So instead of being out networking, instead of being around people, I was in this place of behind the screen the whole time. That's not who I am. That's not what my personality dictates. I was in the wrong environment. You know what that does? It severely limits on what you're able to accomplish. It's like somebody who wants to join a band and they're like, can you sing? Well, no. Can you play an instrument? Well, no. Then why do you want to join a band, right? They just don't compute. There's a story that I like, and his name is Joshua Bell. And you may have heard this story. He is a world famous violinist and classical musician. And so he did this social experiment where he went to a New York City subway. Now here's the picture. This is a world-class musician in a New York subway. And you've got all those really bad smells down there. It's dark at places. There's dinginess. There's dirt. And this is like, these don't match, right? They don't compute. Well, Josh came in and he said, you know what? I'm going to play for these people. So he goes down with his violin and he's playing. And in maybe a few hours, he got $30 in tips, very little bit of recognition. Nobody actually acknowledged him. And the interesting part about that, he was in a New York subway with a $3.5 million violin and a world-class musician who that night sold $100 tickets and sold the place out in an environment that never recognized his ability or even recognized his gift. And so you can be a world-class individual, and if you're in the wrong person, you will never be the person you were created to be. You will never accomplish the things you were created to accomplish. Why? Because you have an insanely powerful gift in the wrong environment. Now, does that mean it's a bad environment? No, but it's a wrong environment for you. Everybody has an environment that unleashes their potential. And if you're not in an environment that unleashes your potential, you're in the wrong environment. So how do we actually like break that down and really look at this? Number one is does your gift and your talents and your personality match the environment you're in? I love what Anna said. She, when she became homeless, like she was sitting in this place of darkness. She was sitting in this place of, I'm trying to do the thing in a bad environment. So she got, that epiphany and was like, wait a minute. And now you look at her, she's incredibly successful, an amazing impactor. Why? Because there was an awakening that says, I am not in the proper environment. My gifting and my life does not match with my current situation. So she changed her current situation. I think that's a beautiful way to see that from our previous speaker. If you didn't see it, make sure you go back and watch that because it was powerful. And so that's number one. Number two, you're stuck in survival mode. When you get into the proper environment, you should be thriving, not surviving. And if you find yourself in survival mode, then the environment may not be the right environment for you. Number three is you want to check your health, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health, all of that, because well-being is a huge part of that. If you're suffering in your health, whatever part of your health, relational health, you're not in the right environment. Now, I want to tell you about 1 second that just because the environment you're put in may, allow your gifting to go, it doesn't mean it's going to be the easiest environment, because right doesn't mean easy. Right means it's going to be conducive for growth and, results. That's what I'm talking about. Doesn't make it easy. So if you find that your health and everything else is suffering like majorly, you're in the wrong environment, because you were never meant to be at a place of this lack of health. You were in a place to thrive. Remember that. And even say that to yourself like now, I am here to thrive. And some of you who said that may have found a little tension. If you found tension, there's some healing that needs to happen, and there's an environment that needs to shift. And the last one is your talents and your contributions are actually recognized. And it's the beautiful thing when you're in an environment that supports you, that wants you, they celebrate you, right? And I think there's too long that we go to places where we're tolerated, not celebrated. And I promise you, what you celebrate stays in your life, and what you celebrate keeps returning. What you tolerate may go away. So that joy factor, if you sit in a place where you're just tolerated and you're tolerating what's being tolerated, joy goes away. Hope goes away. Any type of thing that you want to push to goes away. It becomes depression, because you're living at a lower level than you were meant to live, because you're in the wrong place. So it comes down to this. You can leave the environment, you can create your own environment, or you can put the right people in the right environment. So this is where we come into the second thing, is about the right people. Now, I am a huge proponent of your inner circle, and there's been studies that says, the 5 people, 4 or 5, the study shifts. Maybe sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 6, but irregardless, the people that you put in your inner circle, you become just like. So if you're finding yourself in places that you don't like who you are, check your inner circle, because I promise you share or you mimic things that's going on in that circle. And so if you could be in a right environment with the wrong people, and if you're in a right environment with the wrong people, you won't thrive. You may be in a place where your gifting is needed, but if the people are not supporting you, they're not growing you, they're not challenging you, and they're only talking negative junk to you, you don't have the right people in your life. Or here's another part of being the right people. If you have people in your life who are just yes people and just want to say yes to whatever you say, they're the wrong people. You need people in your life who are going to stand up and say, that was not okay, and we need to talk about that in a healthy manner, right? So the right people placed with the right environment creates incredible growth. So what do the wrong people look like? Now, again, I want to digress and just say, just because they're the wrong, I'm saying the word wrong people, it doesn't mean they're bad people. They're just wrong for you. And we got to make sure we understand that. They're not bad in per se. Some of them may be bad, but they're just not right for you and the direction of your life and where you're going. So here's a few things that you can do to check that out. Number one, do they emotionally drain you? If you emotionally drain me, you are not in my inner circle. You are probably going to be somebody I'm an acquaintance with. I may be your coach at some point to help you come and bring that vibration and that life up so that you're not so draining, because you may be complaining too much. But if you are somebody who is constantly draining people, you're not in my inner circle, and they shouldn't be in yours either. Because your inner circle should be people that are constantly pushing you and energizing you, right? Number two, they don't support you. They don't support your goals. They don't support your directions. Now, understand what I'm saying is I don't want people in my life who are not going to support me. Now, I want people in my life who are, if I have a crazy idea, and I have a lot of crazy ideas, my personality type and who I am, I'm an idea generator. So I have tons of crazy ideas. And I got people in my life saying, hold on, Jim, back up. That one may not be doable for you. And so I've got people in my life that say that, but you want to make sure that there are people that are going to support the direction that you're going, in as much that, number one, on one side, they're going to encourage you, equip you, and do whatever they need to do to help support you in there. And the other side, when you have crazy ideas, they're going to call you out, because you need both in your life. The other thing is, and this is a huge one, and I find that this is one of the ones that I coach a lot on, incidentally, is boundaries. Because if they're not respecting your boundaries, they're not your people. Your people will respect your boundaries. And what are boundaries really? I'm going to give you a one sentence, and this is how I describe it. Boundaries are what I'm going to do, my reaction to your behavior. So if somebody is having an crazy behavior, something that I'm not going to connect with, something that's going to drain me, something that's going to hurt me, this is what I'm going to do in light of what you're doing. It's controlling my actions, not yours. But there are people that you will communicate your boundaries and go, hey, I don't like that. We're not going to talk anymore. And they won't stop. People who violate your boundaries and won't stop when they say, hey, this is a boundary, we need to take a break. These are people that don't need to be in your life, because if they violate your boundaries, they have no respect for you. If they have no respect for you, then they don't need to be in a position of trust and respect from you. Now, respect and love everybody, but don't put them in that key position of being your inner circle, because at the moment they become that inner circle, these are the people you're drawing from. And the last one is, they highlight your flaws instead of your potential. They highlight your flaws instead of your potential. And if you've ever been around those people, it's like, well, you were just this, or you were just this, never ever saying to you, man, I know you messed up here, but look at what you're capable of. I don't know about you, but I want people around me that are going to say, Jim, look at what you're capable of. Look, I know you failed. I know you made a mistake. I know you're struggling here, but look at what you're capable of. Those are the people I want in my life. And now one other thing I'll tell you, and then we'll move on to the last point, is the gossip factor. Make sure if anybody gossips, they just get pushed out immediately. Because here's what I know. If they talk to you about someone, they're talking to someone about you. You don't need them in your life. Give them the boot, and don't, and here's the thing. Don't be ashamed of that, because I think sometimes we are so loyal that we're willing to be more loyal than our mental health can support. So which really means we're willing to take hits to our mental health, our emotional health, to be loyal, when what we should be is loyal to us first, meaning my health and my health, mental, emotional, physical, comes first, so that I can be the best and sharpest for the people I'm here and God has created me to impact, and not just so much being so loyal to one person that I am completely wrecked, right? So we got to shift that. So first we talked about the environment, then we talked about people. And I got a quick story about the people, and then we'll go into right information. So when I was growing up, let me tell you a quick story. So when I was growing up, I was in Philadelphia, and this was a hard place to live. This is a hard place to, survive. So we got into some friend groups. The group started off great. And one of the challenges that we had in that group was that they started drinking. They started doing, illicit things like drugs and all that stuff. And what I found myself is going down that road. And over time, I was like, wait, I came to my senses. I was like, wait, I don't want this. And actually, I joined the military to get away from a lot of this. And I said, I don't want this. Well, fast forward a couple years, is most of them no longer alive, because one reason or another, the road they took ended their lives. And that could have been me. And I could have been to the point where I'm not standing here with you today if I followed that. And I told this story to transition into the right information simply because of this. You have to have the right people around you. You have to be in the right environments, because you can have tragic endings if you're not constantly and obsessively evaluating these things, which then brings into us our last point. You've got to have the right information. Now, what's really interesting about this is we live in the AI age, the artificial intelligence. We live in the hands things. When I was growing up, I'm a Gen Xer. Some of you other guys who are Gen X on there, you know that when you wanted information, you had to go to the library. You got to look in the Dewey Decimal System. That's a word you probably haven't heard in a while. You got to look through the things. You got to read the newspaper. You didn't have access to the internet, right? That came a little later. Like the phones and everything we have, I didn't have a phone until later. I had a beeper. You remember those? If you knew what a beeper was, let me know in the comments if you ever had one of those. But I had a beeper. So you had to really look. And we had a set of Encyclopedia Britannicas. The guy came to the door, knock, knock. Hey, would you like to buy encyclopedias? Sure. I'm in school. My mom bought a set of encyclopedias. This was how we looked. But because we're in the new age of artificial intelligence, you can go to ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Perplexity or any of these other 100 things out there, and you can go, what is this and why does this matter? And boom, within minutes, you get the information. And here's what the ramifications and the benefits of that is that every problem you have, there's a book out there or some information that solves it. It's already been written. Most people don't think in terms like that. If you have a certain problem, somebody's already written a book or talked about it. So you go to these AIs and say, is there a book or is there information out there on this subject? Boom, 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 everything you need. Because sometimes, or actually most time, the reason why we can't solve our problems is a lack of information. And more information gives us the tools we need and the perspective we need in order to solve our problems. And I love what John Maxwell says. John Maxwell says this way. He's like, there's a 3 thing. He's like, you know what you know. And this is your expertise. These are what you are. Everybody on here who's spoken all have an expertise, whether it be, the self-worth, whether it be transformational. Everybody has a leadership. Everybody has an expertise. You know what you know. And then there's things that you know what you don't know. And this is where you get into like, well, I know of something, but I don't know something. Like I know of like astrophysics, but I've never learned it, right? You may know of what neuralistic planning or, as Anna said, neuralistic linguistic photography, have no idea. We got a new word. We're going to figure that out, right? And I joke and I jest with that, but the reality is there are things that we know of, but we don't know. And so we've got to go out and find information on that. And then there's this last thing. There's things that we don't know that we don't know. And these are our blind spots. And I want to bring this in because this is where the people in the environment come together to help with our blind spots, to create an incredible, unstoppable force. Because where you are blind, if you have the right people around you, they're going to call out your blind spots. And then you get the right information to start working on your blind spots so that your blind spots no longer are your blind spots. You may find other ones you aren't aware of, but you need people in your life to call those out because you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. But if I have the right people, I know that I will know because somebody's going to call it out. And if I'm put in the right environment of that, where we're constantly growing, where we're pushing one another, where we're accessing our gifts, where we're accessing our talents, where we're accessing relationship, guess what? You will be unstoppable. 2026, looking back, you will be like, I've never had a year quite like 2025. Because why? Because you aggressively went after the environments you're in and you unapologetically went after them. You aggressively and unapologetically reviewed all the friends in your inner circle. Some people you need to move out to your outer circles and bring new into your inner circles because you did that. And then you got the information you needed to have the proper perspective in order to create the life that you want to create. Now, I want to just end with this last thought. And right doesn't mean perfect. Let me say that one more time again, because a lot of you guys are dealing with perfectionism, imposter syndrome, and things like this. Right does not equal perfect. It equals growing. It equals the environment or the place that you're learning to grow, the place that's challenging you. That's right. But it doesn't need to be perfect. The enemy of perfect is process and progress. So commit to being in progress and launching things imperfectly and doing these things and making sure that you understand that it's going to get messy before it gets better as you do these things. But right does not equal perfect. And here's the thing. The right place, the right people, the right information will make you unstoppable. So when you deal with overwhelm, when you deal with all of the stuff that you like, man, this is a lot. Start small. Don't, in the Bible, it really talks about don't hate small beginnings. Like everybody starts somewhere, and you start small, but you take action. And I think we have a plague of people who like to think about things and never act on it. Take action today by evaluating your environments. Does your gift match up? Are you in the right place? The people in your life, evaluate them. Are these the best for my health? And do they push me to be the best me? And the information, what do I need in order to grow? You do those, and you will have the most productive year, and you will find out in 2026 that you had the most results-driven year. So thank you for your time, and I just appreciate you guys being here today. And thank you, JB, for having me up.
Oh, Jim, hey, this has been awesome. I want to make sure that everybody understands. So, Jim, you have your own content that you produce.
Yes, I do.
It's YouTube or podcast.
Mm-hmm. Both.
So down on the bottom, leadwithjim.live. Please take the opportunity. Did you feel that energy? I mean, you take the energy that Jim has and the insights that he's just given you. And if you do those three things, I mean, I have experienced what Jim has talked about today in my life. And I know that to be true. So take the opportunity to listen to what Jim has to say, the messages that he's got. And there are some other tidbits of knowledge and wisdom that he's going to give to you if you start to pay attention. So please, everybody, take the time, go to the link, sign up, subscribe, and get that information and start taking action. Jim, thank you so much. I really appreciate your energy. And I look forward to working with you in the future as well.
Thank you for the honor of being up here and being able to pour into people and to hang out with you guys. Love it. Appreciate you as well.
Oh, thanks, Jim. Appreciate it, bud. All right. Well, our next speaker brings a wealth of experience, resilience, and strategic insight to the entrepreneurial journey. Lee Broders is a business mentor, life coach, and professional speaker who has dedicated his career to helping entrepreneurs scale to 7 figures with actionable strategies that drive real sustainable success. With over 20 years of entrepreneurial success, military resilience, and academic achievement, Lee's approach is both strategic and deeply transformative. As a British Army veteran and the founder of Business Growth Global, he combines the discipline of military leadership with the adaptability of entrepreneurship. Wow, that's going to be interesting to hear him talk about that. And it guides business owners to overcome challenges, stay focused, and achieve their most ambitious goals. So today, let's get ready for the practical insights that can take your business to the next level. Please join me in welcoming Lee Broders to the stage. Welcome, Lee.
JB, thank you for such a wonderful introduction. And I'd like to thank all the people that are not only just listening here, but also have just already spoken. It's been insightful and really interesting to hear all those people. And they're experts in what they do, and it's been really interesting. So make 2025 your most productive and successful year yet. What a great subject to talk about. But what I will say is success is very subjective. It's very personal, as one of the other speakers have spoke about. It's what you see as success. Now, productivity is another thing that can be subjective. And many people get stuck or misunderstood with they're busy. Now, being productive and busy are very different things. Now, a great one I hear is you've always heard, well, a lot of people have heard the saying, a busy fool. So many people fill their time with doing stuff that's not really important. So what I'm going to do is try and debunk that. And we talk about things. Now, I'm going to talk about 3 things today. About dreaming, we all should dream. About planning, we all should plan. And about taking action and having accountability. Now, whether you're employed and you don't have a business, or whether you're a business owner, the 2 things to think about in 2025 is 1, to be productive and successful for your life in this year is maybe you need to start a business if you haven't got one. And if you've got one, think about growing it. So the first thing I'm going to think about is dream big. If you're looking at starting a business, think about what you want to do and think about how you can make the money and the freedom and everything else that you want in need in your life. Want and need are very different things. A lot of people want things, but they don't need it. So think about what you want, not what you need. So we're going to talk about big dreams. As I said, think about starting your own business. And if you're an existing business owner, why don't you think about growing your business? About stepping away from the running of it to give yourself more time. Now, I talk about time as being the most valuable commodity in the world. It's the one thing we cannot buy back. But we can use our time to make money, which then allows us to live the life we want to live, the life we need to live, and the life we want to enjoy. So, dream as big as you can. There's never a dream that is big enough. And if that dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. You want to have the biggest dream you want. If you think, I want to make $1 million, well, why not make it 5 million? I want to speak to 100 people. Why not speak to 1,000 people? Think about the biggest thing that scares you that you can and want to achieve. The next thing is think about planning what you do and how you get there. You've set this amazing goal that looks unachievable. So what do? Well, actually, you take it and you break it down into smaller points, smaller tasks. And if that feels big, break it down into even smaller tasks. Why? Because overwhelm will hit you if you have a big goal. And it'll hit you with a piece of 4x2 around the head, put you to the ground and laugh at you. And we don't want that. So we break it down into small, bite-sized chunks. Now, in the military, there's a great saying that every plan, or let me say it, no plan survives its first contact. We're told to plan, but we know that that plan's going to go wrong. But what planning do you do in your life and in your business? Now, people laugh at me because I plan quite a lot. I plan my days, I plan my weeks, I plan my months, and I plan my years ahead of knowing that each one has the ability to change. Now, I actually plan in, and people do take the Michael out of me. I plan in time with my family. Why? Because if I've got a plan and it's there, it gets done. If I don't plan something, well, actually, it might not get done. It's very wishy-washy. I might spend time with them. I might go and start that business. I might. And that for me is the start of failure. Now, we all have to fail at something. We all fail at everything. But using that failure to knock us down is not about the problem. It's about the resilience we've got to stand up. When we do fail, it's not about saying, oh, well, it's done, it's gone. It's about standing up and saying, well, if that's the best you can do, I'm going to learn from that, and I'm not going to do the same mistake. I'm going to make a different mistake and a different mistake until you get it right. But the whole thing for me is that it comes back to your plan. You can write a plan and it looks great, it looks pretty. The next section then is to actually take action on that plan. Make sure that you are doing what that plan says. Now, it might sound really strange, but if you don't, there's no action taken, there's no change. And life is about change. In fact, change is the only constant in our life. So let's go back. We want to dream big as you can. Scare yourself in that dream. Plan how you're going to create that dream. Break it down into small, bite-sized tasks so that you know what you're going to do. And then take action on those tasks and plan, knowing that it might not work the first time or even the second time or even the 100th time. But keeping on going and making small adjustments will make a big change. The next pick for me is accountability. If you're going to do something, tell other people that you're going to do it. And it's not to gloat or be big-headed or anything like that. It's about being accountable. You see, we all lie to ourselves, whether we like it or not, whether it's going to the gym, going for a run, starting a business, doing food shopping. I'll do it tomorrow. Okay, it's okay. I'll push it a day. Now, the thing is, we lie to ourselves because we don't hold ourselves accountable enough. And we find it easier to lie to ourselves. But if we've told somebody else, we're going to do something and I'm going to do it tomorrow, what happens? Well, if you don't do it tomorrow, you tell yourself, well, that's not a problem. But when your friend rings up and says, Lee, you said you were going to do this tomorrow. Did you do it? The answer is no. And what does that do? It makes you feel really bad because you said you were going to do something. So we don't want to feel bad. Humans, like the tribes we're in, we want to please people. So all of a sudden, we've taken it away from ourselves and we've told somebody else what we're going to do. And that then makes us more accountable. We don't want to let that person down or those people down. So we do it. What does that do? Well, actually, that helps us on our step forward, the next part of the plan. So we've dreamed big. We've planned to the nth degree, and we keep planning and keep planning. As was said before, perfection. People are perfectionists, but that's great for procrastination. And when you procrastinate, you don't do anything. So the whole thing is, even if it's not perfect and you've planned, take action. That action might not work, but you can adjust it. And then find someone you can tell them and ask them to keep you accountable, because when you're accountable, you will get things done. And as Jim said before, you then become unstoppable, because every little failure you make, every little error that happens, you learn from them and you become a better person, a better businessman, a better businesswoman. You become better in life. Now, I talked about success earlier being subjective. Success in the rawest form is about being better at something. Doesn't matter what, but it's being better, not than somebody else, but you being better than you were yesterday, than you were last week or last year. Whether it's in business, whether it's personal, it doesn't really matter. So for me, this is what I talk about with my clients, whether it's in the life coaching or the business mentoring space. It's about taking those plans, making them work, taking action on them, and actually getting someone to hold you accountable. Now, there's many ways to have accountability. As I said, telling someone, create a group, have other people. So there's a group of you that can all hold each other accountable, because it makes everything go so much smoother. Now, all of these things come together as you start moving forward. So, as I said, the dream, the plan, the take action, and the accountability. Now, there are a few things, along with everything else that the other people have said, that can be used as stepping stones to your success. Now, we'll talk about productivity. As I said before, you can be a busy fool. But however, if you're productive, you free up more time. You focus on bits of work that you've planned, because when you come to your plan, you've blocked out time to do this, that, and whatever. So when you come to doing this, you're working on this wholly. You're keeping focused on this. When you finish this, you can then go to that. And you work on that. And you can work on it wholly, focused, and get it finished. And then you can go to whatever. And you can work on whatever, focused, and get it finished. What you will have done then, using those 3 steps, is actually being productive and not busy, because busy gets distracted. So when you're actually being productive, you're focusing on time, doing time, and the work that you're doing selectively and working on that. Now, that might sound quite strange. I can't multitask. I'm terrible at multitasking. In fact, if I'm talking to someone, I have to write something down, I'll go quiet. But because of that, it allows me to understand the weakness I have, that I have to focus on one thing at a time. And that one thing will get done, and I'll be happy that it's done, and I can move on to the next. So that's a few things that I talk about. Now, I think when I was talking to JB before, we're going to have a bit questions and answers. He had some questions he was thinking about asking me. I'm happy to open that, but if anyone has any questions, stick them in the chat. Be happy to answer.
Awesome. Hey, this has just been an amazing review for us of the things that are really critical to get going and be, you know, the elements that you talked about: dreams, plan, accountability. It's one of those things, Lee, where, you know, it's simple in its concept, but it's not easy to implement, right? Thank you so much for everything. And I want to invite everybody to take a look at the link that's here. Lee's offered some really great opportunities for us to reach out to him. He's got resources for you. Please, please, please take a look. These are successful people who are guiding you to be the best you that you can be and to create a productive and wonderful 2025. So get off your butt, click the link, and participate. Okay, this is all about you. That's why we're here today. Lee, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and energy. Are there any final thoughts that you want to give to everybody?
No, actually, I suppose that the final one is take action, because most people who are not successful don't. People who are successful take action, and they want something, so they go and get it. So for me, if you do nothing else and take nothing else from my talk about the big dreams, the planning, the accountability, if it's nothing else, go and do it. And what I do talk about is done is better than perfect. So go and do it. Make sure that you do something new each day. And on my final note, I suppose the thing is compounding. If you can improve yourself 1% each day, at the end of the year, you will be 365% better than you were the first day. So go and do it. The only thing that's going to stop you is you. So you have to get out your own way.
Love it. Thanks so much. Appreciate it, Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm really, really excited to give these gems of wisdom to you in the audience. You are exposed to so many great concepts and ideas. The tools are there for you to take advantage of. Please click the links, go to those places, go in the chat, find out where all of the information is, but take advantage of these interesting and appropriate tool sets and frameworks and techniques and tips that our speakers have given to you. Okay, so our final speaker for today is a true pioneer in the field of personal transformation with an impressive legacy spanning 5 decades. Rex Sikes has dedicated his life to helping thousands unlock their full potential and create lasting positive change. He is the mind behind the powerful innovations such as mind design, directed questions, and the attitude activator. These are transformative tools that empower individuals to reshape their thinking, elevate their mindset, and achieve their goals with greater ease and clarity. As a sought-after speaker and trainer, Rex has conducted workshops on whole brain and accelerated learning, the law of attraction, personal mastery. He's shared his wisdom on TV and movies and across digital platforms like YouTube. His work truly is a testament to the power of mindset in driving success and fulfillment. So please join me in welcoming the legendary Rex Sikes to the stage.
Wow, I hope I can live up to that introduction. Thank you so much, JB, and it is incredible to be here. I want to thank the preceding speakers for all their gems and insights and sharing from their passion and their experience. What I would like to do is to speak to you on a variety of things, and I talk to both aspects of each of you. I speak to the conscious mind and the unconscious mind, and truth be told, I'm better friends with the unconscious mind. The conscious mind might have a little bit of resistance. So I invite you to watch this, listen to this, maybe a number of times in order to understand them. I'm creating a mosaic. I'm weaving a tapestry, and I'm not going to go necessarily clear cut through points because I fully appreciate the fact that people are adults, and what most of us have lost is the ability to discover new things and be excited about them as we were when we were a child. So I am the author of the book Life on Your Terms: Create the Life You Want, and I am firmly a believer in the fact that we are here to thrive. Our brain does two things. It keeps us alive through surviving and watching out for danger, and then it's programmed to help us thrive. The sad part about that is not that many people understand this, nor do they work with it, because you can work counter to what your brain does, believe it or not. So think of it this way, and I'm going to go through with a series of kind of questions. At one point, you learned to walk. Well, what preceded walking? Now, because I'm asking questions here, it's somewhat rhetorical. I'll give you some answers. One is you fell down, and maybe you got a boo-boo. But ultimately, you had to get back up if you wanted to walk, and so you did. You learned to read, for example, but before you learned to read, or even during the process of learning to read and write, you had to learn some characters. You had to learn how to hold a pencil or hold, at that time, a book, and identify the symbols, which seemed very foreign. But before you learned to read and write, even before you learned to walk, what you engaged in as a human was learning that your native language, wherever you were or wherever you're from, and you didn't have a book to read about it. You just acquired that as part of your natural learning ability. And we are incredible learners who have infinite possibilities, infinite opportunities, and infinite resources available to us, in us, and even around us, because, as was said, somebody's written something about it, or there's a resource, somebody has what you want or need right now, and if you can connect with them, you can come together and work with them and discover what you might not have known. So you've learned everything, including reading and writing, and you didn't realize when you were reading and writing that would lead to you being able to write a letter, or type a letter, or sign a check. It gave you incredible freedom that while you were going through the process, you weren't aware of. So yes, there's what you don't know that you don't know, and then there's what you discover that you do know that you cannot do, and then there's the process of learning how to do that, which is where most people spend most of their time. It's called conscious competence. And then there's that part where it becomes an unconscious habit, or it becomes automatic and reliable. And my work all around the world for over 50 years has been helping individuals and corporations, businesses small and large, transform themselves and their bottom line by adding in some practices that they may or may not have known, but that are natural and easy and effortless to do, but you do need to apply them consistently. So let's talk a little bit about that. What is it that stops most people? I've asked that for 50 years in seminars and workshops, on television, radio, podcasts, wherever, in my blogs. And the answer to that is a thought. What's a thought but a mental packet of energy, and really not much else? And when do most people quit? When do they give up? Guess what the answer to that one is? Usually before they begin. They talk themselves out of it. They go, I want to do this. I want to lose weight. I want to make more money. I want to be loving to my spouse. And before they engage in it, they quit. So I'm known as the mindset master, the attitude doctor. And here's the thing. Your mindset is the invisible force that shapes your reality. It's the foundation of your beliefs about what's possible. It's the lens through which you see the world, and the driving force behind your behavior, behind your success, or behind your struggles. Attitude is the number one predictor in the world for success in all areas of your life. That's what research has borne out. They've been studying this now at least since the placebo effect in the 60s and 70s, that kind of thing. Attitude is the number one predictor for success in all areas of your life. And I would add, it's also the number one predictor for failure in all areas of your life. Because if your attitude isn't right, then your results don't work. Your results, your struggles, your success is determined by your attitude, and whether you're optimistic or pessimistic, and your thoughts, whether you view them as challenges or as insurmountable or as opportunities and possibilities, makes a huge difference. The truth is the way you think determines the way you live. So when you repeatedly send your brain the message that success is inevitable, it begins to orchestrate everything within you to make that happen. It aligns all of your inner resources, the possibilities, and the opportunities within you. Your thoughts and your emotions and behaviors align. This is congruence. It's the state of being fully in sync with yourself. Your heart and head are aligned, and with the goal or the desire. Balance is within, and yet most people try to create balance outside themselves. So before there were humans on the planet, guess what there was? There were earthquakes and fires, there were ice age, meteor strikes, floods, mudslides, droughts, you name it. There were all sorts of things before human consciousness arose. And since human consciousness arose, what do we have? We have fires and floods and mudslides and catastrophe after another. But the difference is before there were humans, nobody labeled it good or bad or right or wrong. Those were just things that happened. And since humans came along, they go, oh, this is horrible. I've lost my house. I've lost my car. I've lost my keys. This sucks. This is awesome. This is terrible. Well, guess what? Trying to create balance outside yourself doesn't work that well, because you can't control the elements. You can control what you can control, but you can't control the elements. But creating balance within yourself works wonders. Then there's no internal conflict. There's no hesitation. There's no split focus. You're all in, and that unity of purpose amplifies your ability to succeed. But what happens when you expect failure? When your mindset is riddled with doubt or fear or negative expectations, your brain accepts those signals too. And the cost of a negative mindset is immense. Now, I think one of the most disparaged people on the planet is Pollyanna. People go, oh, but that's a Pollyanna attitude, positive thinking, that's no good. Can't do this, you can't do, Well, Pollyanna, all she did was look at a situation, find the gold or the good in it, the silver lining, and focus on that. And Einstein said, you can't solve your problems at the same level that they were created. You have to go to a different place in order to find the solutions. And what I would submit is oftentimes the solutions that people think are their solutions to their problems are the very problem that they need to get over. They think they know what they need to do, and they're wrong. And here's the thing. In today, by the way, I'm not going to talk about myself. I've been homeless and I've been broke and I've made lots of money and I've lost tons of money and, and I live the perfect life now. I have the life of my dreams, but it wasn't always that way. And I write about it in my book, Life on Your Terms. You can Google me, you can search me, you'll find all sorts of stuff about me. So, but my point is that what we need to do is to understand that the power to change our life and transform ourselves is within us. The cost of a negative mindset is so immense. Spiritually, it creates disconnect from the boundless possibilities of the universe, leaving you feeling unsupported and uninspired. Mentally, it clouds your judgment, traps you in the cycles of worry and indecision, and it drains your ability to focus. Emotionally, it breeds fear and frustration and self-doubt, robbing you of joy and peace. And physically, chronic negativity contributes to stress-related illnesses, fatigue, and a weakened immune system. Relationally, it creates distance and conflict as your energy actually repels rather than attracts people. And financially, it limits your opportunities, keeping you stuck in a cycle of scarcity and missed chances. But there is an alternative. So you need to be able to imagine the alternative. And that's where a lot of people don't go. They're so stuck at the level of their problem or what they think the solution is that they miss going outside of their thinking box and finding and discovering what is there. And it's the very thing that keeps people stuck on their problems. Now, information is great. But, before the internet, you did have to go to the card catalog, but you did have to do your legwork. There was a cost to putting on a program or a seminar or publishing a book or doing anything. Now with the internet, so much of that cost is negligible, right? So only the people who are in business were people, they could be wrong, but they could afford to be in business. Now, anyone can write a book. With AI, you don't even have to write it. There's tons of information out there and tons of information that is wrong. Our society has conditioned us to chase after things by working really hard, by struggling and sweating and sacrificing and giving up everything in order to get those things so that you can be a person who's happy, have someone of importance, and have high self-esteem. When the reality is the other way around. It's become it, transform yourself, then you will take the right actions because you feel right, your heart, your head are aligned. So you take the right inspired action to get those things that you want or that you need, but that you want, but it doesn't add to you. There's plenty of billionaires and millionaires all around the world right now who are miserable having everything that they could possibly have. And there are people around the planet right now who have nothing. They live on a dirt floor, they may be eating dirt, and they're deliriously happy. Change comes from within. Imagine waking up each day with gratitude and delight and the unwavering belief that good and good things are not only possible, but inevitable. Picture yourself radiating that confidence, that positivity, and attracting the opportunities and resources and the possibilities and the people who align with your goals. This is not wishful thinking. This is a choice. A choice. And when you learn to shift your mindset and set positive expectations, you begin to vibrate at a higher frequency. And that's not just a metaphor. Okay, quantum physics and physics tells us that everything in the universe, including your thoughts and your emotions, is energy. Now get that for a second. People say, I don't have enough energy. I'm drained. I don't have, look, I live around the clock. I sleep a few hours. I get up. I do what I do because I'm passionate about what I do, because I love what I do. I never work a day in my life. Now, when I was a kid, my dad said, hey, you know what? You have a dark cloud following around you, and you have a negative attitude. My acting coach was like, you're one of the most miserable people I know, and one of the biggest a-holes, in Hollywood. So I understand what transformation is about. You got to be able to understand that, again, it's just about learning to do different things. But energy, you're a walking battery, for crying out loud. You're a broadcasting system on the planet. You're a perpendicular planet. You radiate energy. It's not that you don't have enough energy. It's that you don't know how to manage your energy. And if you're captivated and fascinated like a little kid who could play all day long and chase butterflies and do this and do that, plenty of energy, barring neurological, impairments and those kinds of things. A child learns more through play and through fun and through delight and all sorts of marvelous things than the child ever learns sitting in a classroom, taking notes and listening to a teacher. And how many teachers have you ever listened to that were wrong or that were boring or didn't know what they were talking about? How many times have you got wrong information? How many times have you gone on the internet, searched for something only to find out that it was an ad in disguise? Not all information is created equal. You have to know who to pay attention to and who not to listen to. What I've always taught over the last 50 years is what to do and what not to do when it comes to fulfilling your life and navigating your career and being happy and healthy and having the money that you want and the relationships that you want. So you want high frequency vibrations like joy and gratitude and love because those attract similar vibrations. Low frequency vibrations like fear and doubt and anger do the opposite. And that's where most people live. They're either living in not just horrible negativity, but sometimes just the ho-hum. Just that their baseline is not thriving. It's not feeling wonderful. So the benefits of cultivating a positive, aligned mindset are quite profound. Spiritually, you'll feel connected to the limitless source of all good, whatever you conceive that to be. You'll trust and know that you are supported and guided. Mentally, you'll experience clarity and focus, making it easier to recognize opportunities and solutions. They're all around us, but sometimes we're going through this like with blinders. And depending on your attitude, if you're concerned with a problem, you know that when you focus on a problem at any time, or if you are under stress, that the very hormones and chemicals inside your body serve to constrict your vision, restrict your ability to think outside the box and to find opportunities and solutions, because especially like adrenaline or cortisol or some of those are designed to get you to move, to get you to run, to get you out of danger. So the blood goes to your extremities, not to your thinking cap, to your cortex. Your heart beats faster, So when you're stressed, or if you have chronic stress, or you're consumed with your problem, you're missing so much, and you don't know that you're missing it. That's the thing. Is what you don't know, right? And all of this are habits. They're habits that you and I have grown up with because society has conditioned us to be distracted. It has us scrolling our phones. It has us using apps, which instead of teaching us how to think better and do things better, they replace the need to think or to act on. So instead of teaching you how to remember phone numbers and addresses, they store it for you. Now, guess what? Your brain is a use it or lose it phenomenon. It atrophies if you don't use it. And what's happened for most people is they've lost the joy of discovery, the joy of captivation and fascination that occurs as a child, that propels kids through learning all of these wonderful things. And they've restricted it, and they live this ho-hum day-to-day existence. And it's kind of like same crap, different day. Same crap, different day. And I always go, there's two choices. It's dog crap or diamonds, dog crap or diamonds. And you have to choose. So the benefits emotionally are that you cultivate resilience and optimism. It allows you to navigate challenges with grace. I live the life of my dreams. Does that mean there are no challenges or hardships or people go, energy vampires? Oh, of course there are. But think about Jesus and Buddha and Lao Tzu and all the different saints that have ever lived. Did it bother them that there were people that disagreed with them, that didn't like them, that weren't at the same energy level that they're at, or had different, things of importance? No, it let them go. If it bothers you, it's because there's something here that bothers you. You don't need to be bothered by it. If you can transcend it, you can transmute it, you can transform it, and physically, you'll feel healthier and more energized as positivity reduces stress and boosts overall well-being. Relationally, you'll attract the uplifting and supportive people. I don't want everybody to be like me. I don't want like-minded. In fact, I hate that phrase because I want people who challenge me. The Wright brothers, when they were working on their airplane, their own father said, "You guys are idiots. Give it up, give it up." They didn't, because they understood who to listen to and who not to listen to. And they listened to themselves in that case, and they kept working until they succeeded. But the supportive people are those people who will help enhance you on your journey. And financially, your confidence and your belief in your ability to succeed will inspire bold, inspired action that creates wealth. See, the choice is yours, dog crap or diamonds, and it is a choice. So you can continue to let negativity and doubt or ho-hum dictate your life and pay a heavy price in every area of your existence. Or you can take and decide right now to take control of your mindset and start expecting to win. And that's why you need to, and I need to, develop a positive attitude and mindset and the beliefs to transform yourselves. And I'm here to guide you on that journey. So when you understand this, what it does is it opens up for you the ability to have more joy in life. I've worked with people from every walk of life, from top CEOs and surgeons and neurosurgeons and military, whatever, all the way down to people who are everyday people, some who have jobs that you and I might not even want to do. And what I've discovered through the years is that we're all alike. We all put our pants on one leg at a time. It doesn't matter. The billionaires who have everything except happiness and fulfillment are no different than the people who have nothing but are happy and fulfilled. But when you join with me, I invite you to, you'll learn proven methods to reprogram your mind and align your thoughts and feelings with your goals and harness the power of positive expectations to manifest the life you desire. And that's why I wrote Life on Your Terms. That's why I've done what I've done every day for 50 some years. And you'll discover how, and this is really important, to become congruent in your heart and your mind and vibrate high and attract what it is you want more swiftly and easily. So I implore you and I invite you to not let another day slip by. Don't be stuck in fear or doubt or missed opportunities, because that's why most people quit before they even begin. They talk themselves out of it. You know, if you say, hey, do you want to go out to dinner tonight? They go, well, I really like to, but I can't afford it. Or I really like to, but I don't have time. Or I really like to, but I have other plans. Or in other words, there's always a reason, there's always an excuse, there's always a why not. But think of it this way, that why not is in their head. I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I've got other plans. It's just a mental thought. And if you change that mental thought, you can do anything. Here's a little tip for you. People say never use the word but. Like, I love you, but you need a haircut, right? Because it tends to erase the thing before it. So when somebody says, I'd like to go to dinner, but I can't afford it, they've just said, I can't afford it. That's the last thing left in their head. So they may be making pictures or having feelings or telling themselves or whatever, but it's their excuse, the reason I can't afford it. So if you never use the word but, you're stuck, you know. But if you learn how to use the word but, you might say something like, oh, so you don't have the money, but you'd really like to go to dinner. But you'd really like to be able to make time for this, but you'd really like to have a good time. And think of all the fun we can have. And let's look at how we can make this happen for you. In other words, you don't have to stop with the thought that stops you if you understand that. So what you want to do is learn to develop and recondition and reprogram your mind so that the thoughts that propel you forward are automatic and reliable. They become the new neural wiring in your life. In the 80s, we were talking about rewriting neural patterns and neural programming and rewiring the brain. And people said, oh, you're full of crap. And as it turns out, that is, in fact, what neuroplasticity is all about. But the cost of staying where you are is far too high. It's just far too high. You should look up and add up all the money, the time, the energy, the hours, the sweat, the tears, the pain, and everything for staying the same, or for having a problem, or for being afraid of something. Some people are afraid of dogs, for crying out loud, or bees or spiders, and they've been afraid all their life. How much of that life has been consumed with that problem? But the rewards of alignment and positivity are limitless. Infinite potential, infinite opportunities, infinite resources. I encourage you to join me today and take the first step toward transforming your life from the inside out. And your journey to success can begin right now. You know, when I was a kid, I used to lie down, maybe you've done this too, I used to lie down in the back of the car with my parents driving us wherever we were going, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Oh, I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. I didn't mind being there, but I hated getting there. The journey, in truth, is all you have. Imagine, and God forbid, that you don't make it to your destination, physically or otherwise, or something happens and you change your mind. If you don't make the journey the most important part of it, how you journey to be filled with joy and happiness and be thriving and be kind of making the kind of money you want and around the kind of people you want and spreading that to other people, then what are you doing? If you don't enjoy the journey, what's at the end of it? If you're on your deathbed, you're going to go, well, I wish I would have worked another hour, made another $1. I don't think so. I want to write another book. Look, everything that you desire is waiting for you right here and now, but you must act. You got to claim your future. You got to step into your power. You got to expect to win. And as I always say, if you consider something a problem, it is a problem. If you consider something a blessing, it's a blessing. So celebrate everything. Celebrate everything. Be grateful for all of it. Be grateful for the hardships. Be grateful for the energy vampires. Be grateful when you don't feel good. Be grateful when you do feel good. Be grateful for all of it, and your life will transform. Let me show you how. And with that, I am Rex Sikes. And right there, it says rexsikes.com book. And if you go there, there's also a free training right underneath there, which is scrolling, wealthdynamicmastery.com, a one-time opportunity. Get that. That's an event that's coming up at the end of this month on the 30th of January. It's a one-time only event. It's with me and 3 other incredible people, mentors, masters who've been around for a long, long time, helping people in different areas make a difference in their life. And I just go and check it out, look at it. And if it's for you, you're going to sign up. And if not, then don't, But the point is go and take advantage of that. rexsikes.com is my website. I've got plenty of courses. I've got a beautiful course called Create Your Best Life Ever, using Einstein and Tesla's genius and people like that, because just go and look, check it out. And with that, I'm Rex Sikes. Oh, and there's free gifts. I forgot. There's free gifts and the free training if you get so.
Oh, wait a minute. There's
Wait,
more.
There's more.
I love it, Rex. Thank you so much for the energy that you bring, the
Hmm.
knowledge and experience, the wisdom that we're all learning from you today. Thank you so much. I want to say we're going over time a little bit today, but I do want to see if we can bring some people on real quickly, bring our speakers back in, and see if there's a question or two that we might be able to answer together and kind of bounce back and forth. I wanted to throw this one out to everybody here. Has the panel seen the movie Apollo 13, the one with Tom Hanks? Okay, that movie was really interesting for many things, but one particular thing. If you think about the computers that they had in 1969, right? These massively huge computers, and all of a sudden there's this little tiny capsule and they're flying around and the computer doesn't work anymore. And if you recall what happened in the movie, you've got all of the people who are now trying desperately to figure out the vectors and everything that's going on. And what do they have to pull out? Pencil and paper and slide rules, because they had to figure it out themselves without the benefit of all of this technology, right? And what we're talking about here is being able to utilize these tips and techniques to become part of who we are innately, to use them intuitively, to be aware of where we're at, and then utilize all of these techniques and frameworks to become the best that you can be. So let me ask this to everybody here. If you were to think of one thing that's going on in our culture today that you can address from your perspective, that will, one tip or trick that you can give to the audience, what would that be? So who would like to go first? Andre, I'm voluntolding you.
Yes, I'm ready.
Go for it.
Take charge of your beliefs and your unconscious mind. You might need help, but then you become a no-limit person.
Sweet. I like that. Okay, Dr. Joe, how about you?
I think we try to strive for emotional intelligence and really trying to understand grace and presence and respect. And it's respect of understanding where others might be coming from, because if you want respect and grace for yourself, you need to be able to walk the talk and share that and be that way for others.
Awesome. Love that. Anna, Coach Anna, what's up?
Well, if I was to point out one thing that I think is really important for people is I'm 100% for positive psychology. Absolutely, I love it. But I think what's happening right now is one of these pendulum shifts where we're demonizing the things that we label as bad or whatever, and then we're looking to live one-sided. And if I could share anything with you is there is no part of you that's bad. There is no part of you that doesn't have a situation in which it works. The goal is not to only live as a one-sided human. It's to bring all of you into balance and to understand when certain things work and when they don't. And when you do that, you will unlock everything.
Wow. Awesome. I love it. Thank you. Jim, talk to us, man.
So I'm going to, I think one of the worst things that was ever, brought into our society was the participation trophy. Because I'm going to go here because when everybody started getting a participation trophy, and we see the ramifications of that today, it's what everybody got a participation trophy. They became uncomfortable with disappointment. And so if you are uncomfortable with disappointment, success is never going to be in your realm, because we have to embrace disappointment, because that's how we learn. That's how we get through the failures bring disappointment. They bring those things. And if we always fall into our feelings of wanting a puppy and some Play-Doh because we've got our feelings hurt, we won't be able to, create the things that we want to create. So I think if anything, this is what I've taught my children: learn to live with the disappointment so that you can thrive in a society that tries to disappoint you.
Ooh, boom. Love that. Lee, how about you?
Something that I work on myself, and always, it's about pushing yourself. So it's about getting comfortable being uncomfortable, because putting ourselves outside the comfort zone, we don't like doing. But when you start doing it, a whole world of success and productivity comes to your life.
That's so true. Absolutely. Rex, final thought.
Wow, great question and some great answers. I agree with so much of what has been said. You know, again, it's what you do with it. That's the lesson of Apollo 13 is, you know, if it's to be, it's up to me, not the technology or the tool. We're the tool makers and the tool users. They shouldn't be using us or making us do things. And what's happened in our society is we put more and more reliance on technology, which is all great. But the more we put it on and the less that we're able to do, the more that we atrophy and, you know, we don't learn it. So if you're driving down, which, you know, one of my favorite drives is PCH, which has been pretty much decimated right now, the Pacific Coast Highway. And I've said this for decades, you know, if I'm stuck in traffic on Pacific Coast Highway, I'm on the continental edge of the United States. I'm there next to the ocean and the mountains on this side of the ocean on that side. It's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. If I'm upset because I have a meeting and I can't get to the meeting stuck in traffic, being upset in the traffic doesn't get me to the meeting.
Right.
It just zaps me of my energy and my resilience and anything I can do. So why not use that time to reflect, to meditate, to put in an audio, read a book, do whatever, keep your eye on the road, but enjoy where you're at instead of making where you're at a problem. And that's what happens to most people. Hardship, by the way, and obstacles and and discomfort is what moves us forward. And all innovation has come because it was either too cold or too hot or too far or too, close or something. So we've improved on it. So, we create our best when we're not comfortable. And I love what he said, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because you need to know that, but also know that any hardship or challenge is designed to get you to move. If your car breaks down, it gets you to move. Now you can either say, crap, my car broke down, I don't know what I'm going to do. Or you can go, wow, what am I going to meet? Who am I going to meet? What's going to happen today as this unfolds? Because you don't know how it's going to unfold. But if you have the attitude of, wow, good things come my way no matter what happens, then at worst, you have to get your car repaired. At best, you keep open for the opportunities and possibilities that are around you that you would otherwise not notice while complaining about the car being not working.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, I want to thank you guys for being here today. The speakers are just tremendous. Andre, Joe, Anna, Jim,
Joe
Lee,
didn't give his
Rex.
opinion yet.
What?
Joe didn't answer yet.
Joe didn't answer yet. Joe!
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Talk to me, dude.
No, remember I said about grace and emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you, though, Anna.
Great speakers. Great time. Thanks, JB, for putting us all together.
Oh, absolutely. And Joe, I do apologize. I'm sorry about that. Do you have any final thoughts?
The ability to be able to have this opportunity with everyone here and the how you were able to pull this all together, JB, and giving us this space to be able to hold others that are watching us accountable or helping to move that forward. It's about self-development. And that's what I firmly believe, that if we take one step forward to be able to make 1% of our lives better, each of us and collectively as a global society, that's all we can do.
Yeah. If we all just improve 1%, right? Think of what that would do for everybody. That's just amazing. Thank you, Dr. Joe. I appreciate that. Well, I want to, again, thank you very much. Anna, thank you for holding me accountable. I appreciate that. Now the question shifts to what you've heard and what you've learned to how you're going to act. So my challenge to everybody is to take what you've learned and turn them into actions, because those actions are going to turn into tangible results. So embrace the tools, the mindset shifts, the strategies, not only to optimize work, but to create meaningful impact in your life and business. Remember the information that we've talked about. Now, success is not found in the pursuit of busyness, but in the pursuit of purpose. So take this challenge, use the concepts that you've learned today, take an action, And it doesn't matter what that action is. Pick some action and take an action. And even if you fail, you're going to be that child who picks themselves up and learns to walk. I have a 3.5-year-old grandson who is learning those lessons. And I'm learning more now at my age, watching him at 3.5 than I have in like the last 20 years because of how he looks at life. That's what you can do right now. You can make 2025 the best year ever. Follow the tips, follow the suggestions that the speakers have given to you today. And I want to thank you for being part of this incredible journey, speakers, as well as the audience. Together, we can make order out of the chaos, turn potential into progress, and dreams into achievements. So safe travels, stay inspired, and we'll see you on the next Global Speakers Talk Summit. Thanks very much. Take care.